Have you ever um, given someone perfectly logical, like brilliant advice to solve their problem?
Oh, I know where this is going.
Right. And you just watch them get incredibly angry at you for it.
Yes, absolutely.
Like you see them struggling, you hand them the exact blueprint to fix their situation, and instead of saying thank you, they just,
They pull away.
yeah, they pull away or they shut down or they tell you that you just don't understand.
It happens all the time.
If you are nodding your head right now, trust me, you are so not alone. I mean, I have ruined entire car rides and dinners by doing exactly this.
Oh, same here.
So today we are doing a deep dive into why your instinct to fix things, even when it comes from, a place of deep love, might actually be the very thing destroying your communication.
Yeah, it really is a painful paradox, isn't it?
It really is.
I mean, we offer a solution because we care, but then the other person rejects it because they feel like we don't care at all.
Exactly. It completely backfires.
So to untangle this, we're exploring a pretty remarkable roadmap today. It's based on a talk and a booklet by Dr. Hung Ching Carr.
Right. He's a mindfulness-based psychiatrist.
He is, yeah. And he delivered this presentation. It's titled From MIYAOW to LENoVA at the Buddhist Gem Fellowship Center.
I love that title so much.
It's great. And he actually dedicated this work to his late father, which, you can really feel that personal, compassionate undertone running through the whole philosophy.
You really can. And what I appreciate most about the source material is the mission itself.
Yeah, the core goal.
Right. The goal is to move us from being fixers-like, those people who just rush in with tools and schedules and unsolicited opinion.
Empty as charge.
Yeah, to becoming true supporters. We are taking this beautiful, but maybe somewhat abstract idea of having a good heart and translating it into highly practical, everyday habits.
And because this is meant for everyday life, whether you're a parent trying to get your teenager to open up, or maybe a manager dealing with a stressed team.
Or a partner navigating an argument.
Exactly. Because of that, we are setting a firm ground rule today.
Yes, the ground rule. This is so important.
We are intentionally leaving the heavy, clinical, psychological, and academic jargon at the door.
Good. Because, frankly, I don't want to hear it either.
Right. If you're listening to this on your commute or, while washing the dishes, you do not need a degree in psychology to apply these tools.
Absolutely not.
We are sticking to simple English, relatable scenarios, and just grounded wisdom.
Perfect. So let's start with the foundation. Dr. Pung's entire approach is anchored by 4 simple mantras.
Yes, the 4 mantras.
And when I first read them, they felt like, I don't know, a complete recalibration of how I interact with people.
They really require a fundamental shift in perspective.
They do. So what's the first one?
The first mantra sets the whole stage. It goes, people don't care how much we know until they know how much we care.
Wow. Okay. Which perfectly explains that opening scenario we talked about.
Sure.
You can have the most factually accurate, brilliant solution in the world, but if the person in pain feels like you're just treating them as a puzzle to be solved,
rather than a human being who is hurting.
right, then your knowledge is useless to them. It just bounces right off.
It bounces off because the bridge of trust hasn't been built yet.
The bridge of trust.
Which brings us to the second mantra. It's connect first before you correct.
Connect before you correct. I love that.
And in the text, Dr. Pung actually capitalizes the NN in connect and the RR in correct.
Oh, to really emphasize the sequence.
Exactly, to show that sequence visually. You cannot change someone's path or offer guidance until you have established a secure emotional connection.
Connect before you correct. But, if you are listening right now, just think about how often we reverse that.
Oh, constantly.
Like someone says they're overwhelmed at work, and we instantly say, well, you just need to talk to your boss and set boundaries.
Right, jumping straight to the correction.
We jump straight to it. But why do we do that? If connection is so vital to human beings, why is our default human setting usually the exact opposite?
Well, it's mostly because sitting with someone else's pain is deeply uncomfortable.
Yeah, it really is.
When a loved one is hurting, it triggers our own anxiety. We want their pain to stop, not just for their sake, but honestly, because it is hard for us to tolerate the emotional weight of it.
That makes so much sense. So fixing it feels productive.
Exactly. It gives us a sense of control over a messy situation.
Right.
But the third mantra reminds us of a really humbling truth. It's, we can't always cure, but we can always care.
Man, I found that third one incredibly relieving.
Relieving? How so?
Well, there are so many situations in life, like a chronic illness, or a grief that won't fade, or a systemic issue at a job where a cure simply isn't in our hands.
That's very true.
And trying to be the superhero who cures everything, I mean, that's just a recipe for burnout.
Oh, guaranteed burnout.
So realizing that offering pure care is a valid, powerful action on its own, it really takes the pressure off.
It redefines what it means to be helpful. And, to sustain that level of care, the fourth and final mantra acts as a protective boundary, which is self-care is we care.
Self-care is we care.
Yeah, because you cannot be a steady presence for someone else if you are falling apart yourself.
That is so true. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Right. Your own well-being is the absolute prerequisite for supporting others.
Okay, so let's go back to that hurdle of discomfort for a second.
Sure.
If we want to connect before we correct, we have to learn how to tolerate being in the messy, muddy waters with someone.
We do.
We basically have to learn how to truly listen. And the source material offers this beautiful, ancient roadmap for what listening actually entails.
Yes, the character for Ting.
Right, it's the traditional Chinese character for the word listening, pronounced Ting.
This character is fascinating because it's a composite. It's made up of several distinct components, and when you look at them together, they form a tiny, profound map for our hearts.
A map for our hearts. I love that phrasing.
It moves us away from the Western idea of active listening.
Oh, which can feel so robotic sometimes.
Exactly. It can sometimes devolve into this performative checklist, like nodding your head, repeating back their last sentence.
So what I hear you saying is...
Right. Instead, this moves us toward an internal state of being.
Okay, let's unpack the components of this character, because it really changed how I view a conversation.
Let's do it.
The first piece of the map is the symbol for the ear.
Yes. The physical capacity to hear sounds. But in this mindful context, the ear represents hearing without blocking the other person with your own internal noise.
Oh, wow. That internal noise is so loud, though.
It really is.
Like if you're sitting across from me and you're telling me about a fight you had with your sister, physical sound waves are hitting my eardrum.
Sure.
But if my internal voice is saying, I wonder if I left the oven on, or, oh, I know exactly what her sister's going to do next, then I'm not actually hearing you.
Exactly. Your mind is occupied territory.
Occupied territory, yes.
The ear reminds us that before we can receive someone else's reality, we have to turn down the volume of our own mental chatter.
That is step one.
And once we quiet that internal noise, the next component of the character comes into play, which is the king.
Okay, this one stopped me in my tracks when I read it. The idea that when someone is speaking to you, you treat them like a king.
It implies giving the speaker your highest undivided respect.
Wow.
For that specific moment in time, they are the most important person in your world.
For anyone listening right now, think about how rare that feeling actually is.
Extremely rare.
When was the last time you felt like the person you were talking to treated you as the most important thing in their universe?
Usually we're competing with a television, a smartphone.
Or just the other person's visibly wandering attention.
Exactly.
So treating someone like a king means like putting your phone in another room. It means refusing to mentally time travel to the past or the future. You are just standing right there in the court with them.
That level of presence is an incredible gift. And it naturally enables the third component of the character, which is 10 eyes.
10 eyes, not 2. 10.
Yes, 10.
That suggests a level of observation that borders on, like, Sherlock Holmes.
Well, it represents total holistic observation because human communication is overwhelmingly nonverbal.
Right.
If you're only listening with the ear, you only get the dictionary definition of the word.
It's just the transcript.
Exactly. But if you are using your 10 eyes, you're noticing the rigid set of their jaw. You see that they're picking at their fingernails.
You notice the slight tremor in their voice when they mention a specific name?
Yes. You are searching for the hidden feelings that are tucked underneath the spoken words.
Okay, I can picture a scenario where you ask your partner how their day was and they say, it was fine.
A classic.
Right, and if you only use your ears, you say, great, what's for dinner?
Yeah.
But if you use your 10 eyes, you notice they slam the car door, their shoulders are up by their ears, and they are washing a coffee mug with unnecessary aggression.
Yes, fine is the word, but furious is the reality.
Furious is the reality, wow.
Precisely. And when the ear, the king, and the 10 eyes are all engaged, they culminate in the final central component of the Ting character, which is one heart.
One heart, the core of the practice.
This is uncluttered empathy. You are no longer listening to formulate a clever reply.
Right.
You're not listening to judge whether their anger is justified. You are listening to connect heart to heart.
So if we look at the whole map, we quiet our internal noise with the ear. We offer supreme respect to the king. We observe the unspoken truth with 10 eyes. And we connect with pure empathy using one heart.
That's the formula.
And when you do that, you are actively living out that first mantra.
Yeah.
You're showing them how much you care, which makes them open to whatever you might know later on.
You step out of the role of the infallible expert and you become a humble supporter.
A humble supporter. But man, as we all know, staying in that humble supporter role is incredibly difficult.
Oh, it's so hard.
Because of a very specific trap that Dr. Pugh identifies.
Yes. The advice trap. The absolute nemesis of the one heart.
The nemesis. But it's a nemesis born out of love, isn't it?
It is. The advice trap happens when we see someone we care about in distress and our fixer instinct just wakes up.
Because we love them.
Right. Because we love them, we want the pain to stop. So we immediately offer a quick solution wrapped up as helpful guidance.
And it comes in so many sneaky disguises. If you are listening, try to catch yourself using these phrases.
Oh, we all do it.
We say things like, well, don't worry, just do this, which totally minimizes their anxiety.
Or we say, why don't you try? Which sounds polite but is still telling them what to do.
Or the ultimate conversation killer. Trust me, the best way to handle this is...
Let's look at why this feels so terrible to the person on the receiving end.
Yes, please. Why does it hurt so much?
When you jump straight into the advice trap, you inadvertently make the speaker feel rushed and dismissed.
Rushed and dismissed.
It implies that their deeply complex, painful problem is so simplistic that you managed to solve it in the 10 seconds it took them to explain it.
Ouch. Yeah, it makes them feel small.
It completely shrinks their experience, and it instantly breaks the bridge of connection.
Because it changes the dynamic.
Exactly. It alters the power dynamic, elevating you to the status of the wise guru who has all the answers and reducing them to a dependent who needs to be instructed.
It strips away their agency.
It does.
You know, to really drive this concept home, the source material includes a metaphor that is just impossible to forget.
Oh, the nail?
Yes. It perfectly illustrates the absurdity and the pain of the advice trap. It's called The Story of the Nail in the Forehead.
It's a brilliant, slightly absurd, but deeply accurate depiction of how human beings process emotional pain. Walk us through it.
Okay, so imagine you're sitting with a friend. She's wincing, clearly in distress, and she says, I have this terrible pressure in my head. It hurts so much, and it feels like a constant heavy tugging.
Okay.
You look at her, and the cause of her pain is glaringly obvious. There is a giant iron nail protruding right out of her forehead.
A literal nail. It is the most visible, solvable problem in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So naturally, your inner fixer screams into action. You say, oh my goodness, you have a nail in your head. Let's just pull it out. That will solve the pressure immediately.
Makes perfect logical sense.
Right. But instead of being grateful, your friend gets incredibly angry.
Of course she does.
She snaps at you. You are not listening to me. I am just trying to tell you how much my head hurts, and you keep talking about pulling things out. I just need you to hear how I feel.
It sounds ridiculous when we use a physical nail, right?
Totally ridiculous.
But this is the exact architecture of almost every frustrated conversation we have.
Wow.
The nail represents the concrete problem. It's the bad performance review, the mounting credit card debt, the misbehaving toddler.
The objective issue.
Yes, it is the thing that objectively needs to be fixed.
But the crucial insight here is that for the speaker in that moment of distress, the nail is not their priority. Their feelings about the nail are the priority.
That is the dividing line between the fixer and the supporter.
Okay, say more about that.
The fixer is entirely focused on the iron object. The supporter is focused on the human being experiencing the iron object.
Okay, that's good.
If you rush past their feelings to grab the nail, you miss the person completely.
Right.
You have to stay on the bridge of connection until they are emotionally regulated enough to look at the nail themselves.
Okay, I want to push back on this a little bit.
Yeah.
Because this is where the theory hits the harsh reality of real life.
Go for it.
If I'm looking at someone I love, and they have a metaphorical nail in their head that is causing them immense suffering, holding back my solution feels almost negligent.
It feels wrong.
Right. Like if my friend is drowning in debt because she refuses to look at her bank statements and she comes to me crying about the stress, just sitting there and saying, wow, that pressure must hurt, while doing nothing to stop the bleeding feels so wrong.
Yeah, I hear you.
How do we tolerate the immense discomfort of just sitting with the nail?
Well, that discomfort you're describing is the exact reason the advice trap is so common. It does feel negligent.
It really does.
But you have to challenge that feeling with the reality of human neurobiology.
Okay, hit me with the science.
When someone is in acute emotional distress, their brain's threat center is essentially sounding an alarm.
The fight or flight response?
Exactly. Processing advice, making plans, pulling out the nail, all of that requires the executive functioning part of the brain, which goes offline when the alarm is blaring.
Oh. So they literally cannot process the blueprint I am handing them because the alarm is too loud.
Exactly. They cannot hear your logical solution.
Wow.
If you skip the connection phase, the cure becomes impossible for them to accept. They will fight your advice, just like the woman fights the attempt to pull the nail out.
Because they're just trying to survive the alarm.
Yes. When you sit with them and validate their pain, you are not doing nothing.
I'm not.
No. You are doing the heavy, invisible, essential work of helping them turn off that internal alarm.
Okay, that changes everything.
Only when they feel heard and safe will they have the mental capacity to say, okay, how do we get this nail out?
That reframes it entirely. Restraining the advice isn't negligence. It's the prerequisite for the advice to eventually work.
Exactly.
So if we are restraining our inner fixer, we can't just stare at them in dead silence.
No, that would be weird.
That would be deeply unnerving. If we aren't giving advice, what are we actually doing to keep that bridge open?
This is where Dr. Fung provides our first major, highly practical tool.
The MIYOW tool.
Yes, it is an acronym called Mindful, MIYOW. It spells the sound a cat makes, but with a question mark at the end.
MIAOW.
Right. These are 7 short verbal nods. They are the sounds of presence.
Let's break this down. Because it sounds simple, but there is a real art to it. What are the baseline sounds for building this bridge?
Okay, so the first letter is M, which stands for a simple, resonant, Exactly. This is the raw sound of empathy. It just vibrates with presence. It says, I am physically and mentally right here with you.
And then we move to the letters that show we are actively tracking the narrative.
Yes, the I stands for I see, and the Y stands for Ya or Yalo.
Ya or Yalo.
These are your tracking tools. They do not mean you agree. They simply mean, I am following your story. I understand the sequence of events you are describing.
Let's pause on that because the source material highlights confusing tracking with agreement as one of the biggest, most dangerous mistakes we make with this tool.
Oh, it's a huge mistake.
If you are a parent or a manager or a spouse, this trap is totally waiting for you.
It is the primary reason people abandon mindful listening. They're terrified that if they say, I see, or yeah, they are giving permission for bad behavior.
Right. The classic example in the text is a teenager who comes home and says, I skipped school today.
Yes. And what does the parent usually do?
Every alarm bell in the parent's head goes off. The fixer, the enforcer, the disciplinarian, they all wake up. The parent thinks, if I say I see, my kid is going to interpret that as I see, and I endorse your decision to play video games instead of going to math class.
Exactly. But we have to fundamentally separate tracking a location from endorsing a destination.
Say that again?
We have to separate tracking a location from endorsing a destination. Saying, I see, is merely acknowledging the reality of what was just spoken.
Okay, it's like looking at a map with someone.
Okay, I like this.
If a friend calls you and says, I ignored all the detour signs, and I'm currently stuck in the middle of a toxic swamp, and you reply, I see that you are in the swamp, you are not endorsing the swamp.
You're really not.
You are not saying driving into the swamp was a stroke of genius. You are simply accurately tracking their current location.
That is a perfect analogy. You are acknowledging their coordinates.
Right.
If you immediately jump to, why did you ignore the signs? You are so irresponsible. The bridge collapses.
And they never call you from the swamp again.
The teenager who skips school will never tell you the truth again if the immediate consequence of truth-telling is an attack.
That makes total sense.
You can and must address the rules and the consequences later. But in the fragile first seconds of a difficult disclosure, your only job is to say, I see you are in the swamp.
First connect, then correct. Okay, so we have M for presence, I, and Y for tracking. What about when the story gets heavy?
That brings us to the A, which stands for ah or ayo. This is an emotional mirror. It is a sound specifically reserved for when things are frustrating, sad, or painful. It matches the gravity of their emotional state.
You can almost feel the deflation of tension when someone gives you a genuine "I-O" or "ah" in response to a tough story. It feels like they are carrying a tiny fraction of the weight for you.
Exactly.
And the O.
O is for ooh. This is the sound of realization.
Ooh, like the light bulb just went on.
Right. It signals to the speaker that a new piece of information has landed, and you are processing the implications of it.
Then we have W.
W is for wow.
Wow.
This is incredibly validating. It tells the speaker that you find their experience significant. It honors the intensity of what they went through.
And finally, the punctuation mark at the end of MIYAOW.
The question mark represents the caring question.
The pivot.
Yes. When there is a natural pause, instead of asking an investigative, judgmental question like, why did you do that? Which forces them into a defensive posture, you ask a caring question.
Like what?
How are you feeling about it? Or what was that like for you? You invite them to explore their internal landscape rather than demanding a logical defense of their actions.
Okay, let's put this into a real-world context for our listeners.
Yeah.
Imagine I'm your partner, and I walk through the door, drop my bag, and look absolutely exhausted.
Okay, I'm ready.
I say, my boss just handed me a massive new project that is due on Friday, and he completely ignored the fact that I am already working overtime. It is so infuriating. I feel like my hard work is just being rewarded with more work, and no one is acknowledging it.
I see. Wow, that must feel incredibly dismissive. How are you holding up right now?
Now, notice what happened there.
Did it work?
It totally worked. You didn't tell me to quit. You didn't tell me to go to HR. You didn't say, well, at least you have a job. You just walked right beside me in the mud. You used the sounds to keep the bridge strong.
That's the goal.
But as simple as these sounds are, the source material warns us about falling into the empty heart mistake.
Oh, yeah. This takes us right back to the character thing. If you do not have one heart, if your empathy is not genuine, these tools become manipulative.
They just become a script.
If you are saying, and icy, but internally you are drafting a grocery list or judging them for being weak, the speaker will subconsciously pick up on it.
People have an incredibly highly attuned radar for being patronized or managed.
They absolutely do. If you are not anchored in the present moment, MIYAW sounds like an automated customer service robot. It becomes a hollow technique rather than an expression of care.
Which leads right into the robot mistake.
Yes. You do not deploy the acronym in alphabetical order.
I see. Yeah. Ooh. Wow. How are you? That sounds like a glitching android.
It's terrible. It's a gentle, fluid dance. You use the sound that fits the specific moment. Sometimes you might just sit in silence and offer a single deep,
It's about tuning into the frequency of the other person, not checking off a list.
Exactly.
And while we are tuning in, we can't forget our physical presence. The 10 eyes go both ways.
They do.
Just as we observe them, they observe us. Uncrossing our arms, softening our face, turning our body toward them, these physical cues shout, I care, before we even make a sound.
But this brings us to a very real, very heavy challenge.
Okay, with that.
Listening like this, truly opening your one heart to someone else's suffering, has a cost.
It really does. If you've ever sat with a friend who is sobbing over a breakup or a family member who is vibrating with intense, righteous anger, you know the feeling.
It's overwhelming.
It's like standing in the ocean. At first, you're just watching the waves, but eventually, the water starts rising. Their sadness literally becomes your sadness. Their anger starts making your own heart race.
That is emotional contagion. When you practice deep empathy, your nervous system begins to mirror theirs.
And what happens if we're not careful?
If you are not careful, you stop being a bridge over the storm and you get swept away by the current yourself. You drown in their emotions.
And a drowned person cannot save anyone.
Exactly.
This is why the fourth mantra, self-care is we care, is not just some nice fluffy idea about taking bubble baths. It is a tactical necessity.
If you lose your own internal stability, the interaction collapses. You must remain anchored.
So how do we do that?
To help us do this in real time, Dr. Peng introduces a vital subtool for emotional regulation. It's called HTC.
HTC. How does this work to keep us from drowning?
It is a sensory grounding technique. When you feel the emotional contagion taking over, when your chest gets tight, or you feel tears welling up that aren't yours, you use your physical senses to pull your brain out of the emotional narrative and back into the solid present reality.
Sensory grounding, okay.
It stands for hearing, touching, and seeing. We use S for seeing, but it's represented by the C in HDC for the sake of the acronym.
Got it. If you are listening to this right now, I want you to actually try this with us.
Yes, try it.
Imagine you are sitting across from someone whose anxiety is completely overwhelming you. You can feel your own breath getting shallow. What is the first step?
The first step is H hearing. For just 5 seconds, detach from the meaning of the words the person is saying, and just listen to the raw physical sounds in your environment.
Like what?
Listen to the hum of the refrigerator. Notice the sound of a car driving by outside. Hear the physical, rhythmic cadence of the person's voice as pure sound, devoid of emotional weight.
Oh, wow. It's like zooming out of a terrifying movie to look at the pixels on the screen.
Yes.
Breaks the spell.
Exactly.
Okay, what is next?
Next is T-touching. Shift your attention to your physical body. Feel the solid ground beneath your feet. Press your toes into your shoes.
Just noticing the physical reality.
Right. Notice the texture of your clothing against your skin or the weight of your hands resting in your lap. You are sending a massive signal to your nervous system. I am physically safe. I am located right here in this chair.
And finally, the C, which stands for seeing.
Seeing. Look around the room and visually anchor yourself. Notice 3 distinct objects.
3 objects.
The sharp corner of the desk, the blue color of a book on the shelf, the light reflecting off a window.
Hearing, touching, seeing. You do this for maybe 10 or 15 seconds, and it acts like an emergency brake on your escalating nervous system.
It really does.
You re-anchor yourself to the floor, and once you are stable, you return your one heart to the speaker.
You return to them, but from a place of strength, not a place of overwhelm.
Okay, so we are anchored. We are using MIYAOW to track their story. We are validating their pain without trying to fix the nail.
Yes.
But eventually, the story ends. The silence stretches out. They look at you, waiting for a response that involves more than just a sound.
The terrifying moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do we transition into speaking without immediately turning back into the fixer and blowing up the bridge we just spent 20 minutes building?
That transition is the most delicate part of the conversation. To navigate it, we use a structured bridge called LENoVA.
LENoVA?
It is a 5-step framework that ensures when we finally do speak, our words remain supportive and humble.
Let's walk across this bridge. The first letter is L.
L stands for listen. It is a reminder that everything we just discussed, the ting, the MIYAOW, the anchoring, is the absolute foundation.
Right.
You cannot proceed to the rest of the bridge if you skipped the listening phase.
If you try to cross the bridge without the L, you fall right back into the advice trap. Okay, step 2 is E.
E stands for empathy. This is the internal check before you open your mouth. Are you operating from the one heart? Are you feeling with them? Or are you looking down on them?
And then we hit the no.
No stands for no advice. Even as you transition to speaking, you must actively tell your inner fixer to stay seated. The time for solutions has still not arrived.
Listen, empathy, no advice. That clears the path for the V, which is honestly the heavy lifter of this entire toolkit.
The V is massive.
The V stands for validation.
Validation is transformative. It is the verbal act of acknowledging that someone's feelings, thoughts, and experiences are completely understandable given their circumstances.
I really want to explore this because I think validation is widely misunderstood.
It definitely is.
People often confuse it with agreement.
Right, which goes back to the teenager skipping school.
Exactly. If a colleague comes to me furious because a meeting was moved back by 10 minutes and they're acting like the world is ending, my logical brain thinks this is a massive overreaction. 10 minutes is nothing.
Right.
How do I validate them without lying and saying, yes, moving a meeting by 10 minutes is a catastrophic crime?
That is the core challenge. Validating does not mean endorsing their objective reality. It means affirming their emotional reality.
Affirming their emotional reality.
You are not saying your reaction is the only logical response to this event.
Yeah.
You are saying, given who you are, given the pressure you have been under, given how much you value punctuality, it makes total sense that you are feeling this intense frustration right now.
You are validating the human being, not the event.
Exactly.
To see exactly how this works in practice, let's dive into the mother in distress case study from the source material.
This is a powerful one.
If you are a parent juggling a million things, this is going to sound very familiar.
It is a scenario packed with complex, competing emotions.
Okay, here is the situation. A mother comes to us, and she is overwhelmed by 3 distinct burdens.
Okay, what's the first?
First, exhaustion. She works a full day, comes home, manages the house, and has 0 time for herself.
Very common.
Second, guilt. She feels like a terrible mother because she is always so busy and stressed.
And the third?
Third, pure anxiety. She is terrified that she won't be there for her kids when they really need her.
Now, if the fixer hears this, what do they do?
Oh, the fixer pulls out a spreadsheet.
Immediately.
Okay, let's wake up at 5 a.m. instead of 6 a.m. so you have an hour to yourself. Let's start meal prepping on Sundays. Let's hire a tutor.
And how does that make the mother feel?
It makes her feel like she is failing at time management, on top of failing at motherhood. You just handed an exhausted woman a to-do list.
Exactly. You aimed at the nail and hit the person.
Ouch.
Instead, if we use the LENoVA bridge, we focus entirely on validation. Dr. Peng provides 3 specific templates, validation phrases, that we can use to address her 3 burdens without offering a single piece of advice.
Let's apply them. For her physical exhaustion, the first phrase template is, it makes sense.
So you would look at her and say, it makes perfectly good sense that you are exhausted, you are giving everything at work, and then coming home to give everything to the kids, leaving nothing for yourself.
Wow. Notice what that does. You're taking her exhaustion, which she probably feels weak for having, and you are telling her it is the most logical, natural outcome of her heroic effort.
Yes.
It removes the shame of being tired.
Next is her guilt about being busy. For this, we use the template, it's natural that...
It is completely natural that you are concerned about being a good mother because you care so deeply about your children.
That is a masterclass in reframing.
It really is.
You take the very thing she is using to beat herself up, her guilt, and you hold it up as proof of her love. You show her that only a deeply loving mother would feel that kind of guilt.
That literally gives me chills.
And finally, her anxiety about not being there for them, the template is, it is understandable why.
It is so important to you to be their safety net, so it is completely understandable why the thought of missing a moment causes you so much stress right now.
Think about the impact of those 3 sentences.
It's massive. And you didn't add a single hour to her day.
Nope.
You didn't fix her childcare situation or change her work schedule. The nail is still there.
The nail is absolutely still there.
But by using those validation phrases, you remove the meta pain.
The meta pain being the pain we feel about being in pain.
Right. She was stressed, and she felt crazy for being stressed. Validation strips away the crazy feeling. It tells her she's a normal, rational human being reacting logically to an impossibly heavy load.
And when someone feels truly seen and validated like that, their internal alarm system finally powers down.
And that leads perfectly into the final letter of LENoVA, which is A for affirmation.
Yes.
Once the alarm is off, you can affirm their inherent strength. Like, you are managing an incredible amount of pressure, and your dedication to your family is visible in everything you do.
Listen, empathy, no advice, validation, affirmation. It is a bridge built entirely of care.
But you know, I know there are people listening right now screaming at their audio player, but eventually the nail has to come out.
And they are right.
We can't just validate our way out of every crisis. Sometimes a plan must be made. Sometimes advice is required or a boundary must be set.
And Dr. Peng acknowledges that reality. But he asks us to ensure that when we finally do transition to sharing our own thoughts or solutions, we do it safely. We need a security guard at the gate of our mouth.
The security guard at the gate. And that security guard is our final tool. It is the THINK filter. 5 questions your words must pass before you're allowed to speak them. Let's interrogate our own advice. The T stands for
truthful. This is the baseline. Are the words you are about to say honest and sincere? Are you speaking from a place of reality, or are you exaggerating to win an argument or prove a point?
You always do this, or you never listen. Rarely pass the truthful test.
They never do.
Okay, the H is for helpful.
Will your words actually support or uplift the other person, or are they just a vehicle for you to vent your own frustration?
Oh, this is where I told you so dies at the gate.
Oh, instantly.
Because it might pass the truthful test. You probably did tell them so. But it absolutely fails the helpful test. It serves no purpose other than inflating your own ego.
Exactly. The third letter, I, stands for intelligent.
Now, when I first saw this, I thought it meant, is my advice smart? But it means something much deeper in this context. It means situational intelligence.
It is about context. Is this the right time, the right place, and the right method to share this truth?
The when and where.
Right. You might have a perfectly truthful, helpful piece of feedback for your partner, but if you deliver it while they're trying to get 3 screaming kids out the door for school, that is not intelligent timing.
It is a guaranteed explosion. Whispering a critique in a crowded grocery store aisle is not intelligent. Sitting down with them later that evening, when the house is quiet and you both have a cup of tea, is intelligent.
Context determines reception. The N stands for needed.
Does the person really need to hear this advice right now?
This is the ultimate test for the recovering fixer. You might have a brilliant, truthful, helpful, intelligently timed solution, but if they are still processing the shock of the event, if they are still emotionally raw, it is not needed yet.
What is needed?
What is needed is more time on the LENoVA bridge.
And finally, the K.
Kind. Are your words wrapped in empathy? Even hard truths, even difficult boundaries can be delivered with a tone of kindness and respect.
Truthful, helpful, intelligent, needed, kind. If your device passes all 5 of those tests, the security guard opens the gate, and your words become a gift rather than a weapon.
As we look at this entire roadmap, from Ting to MIYAOW to HTC to LENoVA to THINK, Dr. Peng offers a vital, gentle reminder.
What's that?
You are essentially learning a completely new language. He compares it to learning an ancient language like Pali. You are not going to be fluent tomorrow.
You are going to mess up. I guarantee that sometime this week, someone is going to come to you with a problem, and you're going to immediately pull out your spreadsheet and try to rip the nail out of their forehead.
It's just human nature.
You are going to forget to say, You are going to fail the THINK test.
And when you do, you have to apply the very same compassion and validation to yourself. It is a practice, not a destination. You start with one mindful pause, one genuine attempt to treat the person in front of you like a king.
Every time you choose to use a verbal nod instead of a sharp critique, every time you validate a feeling instead of dismissing it, you are placing a brick on the bridge of connection. You are slowly, deliberately transforming from a fixer into a supporter.
And in doing so, you bring that profound third mantra to life. We can't always cure, but we can always care.
As we close out this deep dive, I want to challenge you to a tiny 5-minute experiment this week.
Oh, a challenge.
The next time someone comes to you complaining about a problem, whether it is a colleague frustrated with a project or a partner annoyed by traffic, I want you to internally identify the nail in their forehead. See the problem. Acknowledge the spreadsheet solution in your own mind.
Okay.
But then challenge yourself to go a full 5 minutes without mentioning it. For 5 minutes, use only your MIYAOW tools. Use your 10 eyes. Track their story. Validate their frustration.
Just observe.
Notice what happens to their posture. Notice how the temperature of the room changes when you focus entirely on the human being rather than the iron nail.
It is a small shift, but it has the power to change the entire trajectory of your relationships.
Thank you for bringing your one heart to our discussion today. We appreciate you taking the time to explore this ancient and yet incredibly modern roadmap with us. Until next time, keep building those bridges. Take care of yourself and take care of each other.